We have the most accurate weather team. Both Jennifer and Ella are tracking every move of Dorian. And Jennifer, you got new information about the storm.
Yeah, part of it is good. It's weakening. It's still a Category 4, but at least we're looking at 130-mile-an-hour winds, which is an improvement because earlier it had 185-mile-an-hour winds at its strongest point. There is the center of the storm still sitting right over the Bahamas. This is right over Grand Bahama Island, and these poor people who have had this hurricane over them for 24 hours. Right now, that storm about 100 miles off the coast of Florida, just about 100 miles east of West Palm Beach. The hurricane force winds are about 45 miles from that center of circulation. So all over Grand Bahama Island, they're seeing, for the most part, hurricane force winds. Tropical storm force winds, those extend 150 miles from the center of the storm. So these winds extending all the way to the Florida coast, and actually much of eastern Georgia already picking up those winds of at least 39 miles an hour. Now, each one of these lines is a different computer model, none of them having make it landfall over Florida or Georgia. That's the great news. The bad news is more and more of these models are pushing it a little further west. Doesn't look like it's going to make landfall over South Carolina, although it will be close, but look how close this system will be to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Certainly watching that very closely. I want to show you the winds because although this is not expected to make landfall, doesn't mean you can breathe a sigh of relief along the Florida coast. The red is hurricane force winds. The yellow is tropical storm force winds. So even Wednesday morning, we're still looking at tropical storm force winds across Florida. The system moving very slowly by Wednesday night off the coast of Georgia. Again, not expecting hurricane force winds over coastal Georgia, but we could see tropical storm force winds. But as this moves up through the Carolinas, could see very strong winds, especially on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. On top of that, we're going to see very heavy rainfall. The highest totals over the Bahamas and over the ocean of the Atlantic, where that system is just sitting right on top of Grand Bahama Island. But then as we head towards the Carolinas, where we could see 5 to 10 inches of rain, especially in coastal North Carolina and South Carolina. Here in Georgia, we're not getting any rain at all from this system. What we will see is storm surge, and a pretty big one. This is brand new as of the 11 o'clock update. All of the Georgia coast now under a storm surge warning. Could see 4 to 8 feet of storm surge on top of 4 to 7 inches of rain. And we're watching the tropics closely. It's not just Dorian out there. Ella, we could see several more in the next couple days.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible when you look at it, but it is timely, Jennifer. This is what we expect. We're headed into the peak of the hurricane, the tropical season, if you will. Take a look. It does look like the season peaks in the middle part of September. So we're really seeing getting into the thick of when we expect to see the most activity in the Atlantic basin. And look at what we're seeing. 4 different storms additionally to Dorian. One of them is in the Gulf of Mexico. It's headed towards Mexico. 60% chance this becomes a named storm in the next 2 days. Will not affect us here in the United States. Also going to run into land, so it's likely to weaken before it reaches hurricane strength. But another system well out in the Atlantic, Bermuda Islands, we'll have to watch this one. 30% chance that this gets named in the next 2 days. The ones I really want to focus on, though, are 2 waves coming off of the African coast. One of them, you can see that dark red X there, very likely to become a named storm by tomorrow at this time. It will remain in the Atlantic, but that little wave, you see the little dotted red thing coming off of Africa. That's a thunderstorm cluster that is very likely to become a named storm by the end of this weekend into the weekend. We'll have to track that one across the Atlantic through the week next week. The next couple of storms will be named Fernand, Gabrielle, Humberto, and Imelda. So a lot of Hispanics names coming towards us over the last couple of weeks. Definitely going to have to keep track of these storm systems as they develop here in the coming 2 weeks. So Dorian, not the end. Don't let your guard down after this passes. We're watching about 4 more storm systems.
Yeah, incredible. And it goes with the peak of hurricane season, that water temperature, 85 to 90 degrees, especially in the Gulf of Mexico. So very easy for these to form and develop and become very strong. Here in North Georgia, we will not feel the effects of Dorian. You may notice it gets a little breezy Wednesday, Thursday, but nothing strong, and no rain in the forecast. Tonight will be beautiful as we drop down to 71 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny skies, really hot as we get up to 93 degrees, and staying really hot this week. Even as Dorian passes off the Georgia coast, we're going to be in the mid-90s with lots of sunshine, lots of heat, no rain through Friday, even this weekend. Only a 20% chance of rain on Sunday and a 30% chance of rain on Monday.